how has your sense of comedy changed now from back when, you were Mr. Aristocrats?
Right. Now, Aristocrats couldn't be done now. Now that is something that movie, maybe it would come out right now as an anti, freedom of speech.
But back then it was just funny and weird and wild. But today
And
it
it
would
was-
be like a statement.
But that's what it was. It was Penn Jillette and Paul Provenza, who directed it, made it. Took 4 years and filmed 100 comedians telling the same joke that I'd only heard twice in my life. And the point was censorship, different ways that people can do an art form, all tell the same thing. Everybody paint the same painting, and let's see what happens. But it really was about freedom of speech. I mean, Lenny Bruce went to jail for saying things that were said overtly in that film.
That's interesting because it's gotten so much worse since then.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you couldn't even... Well, for people who don't know, because a lot of our audience are a little on the younger side.
As they
let's say.
should be.
Yes.
And they are the future.
Yes, literally.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
There's no other way to go.
No, because we're out of here.
Time is one way.
It's not like we're
but
going
can
to save the planet. It's like we're getting the hell out of here and leaving it to them.
Can you explain what is the Aristocrats to the people who don't know what it is?
The Aristocrats was a documentary made by Penn Jillette, famed entertainer, smart, does magic, but in a revealing way. Paul Provenza, who I'd known since I was 19 years old, who was a stand-up comedian, is a stand-up comedian and a director. And they worked 4 years interviewing 100 comedians. And George Carlin, the great George Carlin, now, any millennials listening, sorry, I didn't mean to label you or objectify you. Well, it is because I'm 60, but I'm 61 really now because the special happened and then I turned 61, so that's weird. But I'm not saying millennials derogatorily. Basically, I'm saying I'm 3 times your age, so I'm the one eating it, But it was really about an old joke that was an inside joke, kind of, but it really wasn't a joke. And I won't tell it on here because there's no purpose. But the premise of the joke was a family that's so desperate to make it in show business. They go into an agent's office, and he says, "What do you do for a living?" And they say, "What do we do?" And there's a million ways to tell it. It's like jazz. You can go off and tell it any way you want. But the family is somehow nude and committing unspeakable acts.
Right.
And then at the very end, when they're all finished with all of these unspeakable acts, and everything up to that point is jazz. It's how do you want to tell it? How gross do you want to be?
Gruesome, awful, despicable.
Or some people told it much cleaner.
Like just a sweet little, hey, they did a couple of somersaults. And
a few people like Don Rickles and Chris Rock, they said, "I'm not telling this." Jerry Seinfeld, I don't do that joke.
Oh, yeah,
I don't.
Definitely.
Well, and they're right for them, and I respect them.
Yeah.
And I miss Don Rickles. You guys got to look him up immediately.
I wanted to talk to you about him.
I'm here, and I don't want to leave. So, at the end of the bit, they finish. They go ta-da, and the agent says, "Well, what do you call yourselves?" And they go, whoever you choose in the family goes, "The Aristocrats." I think it was my version. It was someone's dying breath. It was the last thing. But no, I couldn't finish. I couldn't finish the punchline because I was on stage at the Laugh Factory. So I literally, as I was about to say the Aristocrats, had to go on stage. So I laughed.
God.
But the point of the joke was, and George Carlin, who was one of the greatest stand-ups that we ever had, as well phrased, said, "Don't tell this. This is not for public consumption. This is for behind the alley. This is for how raw can you go?" And the point was to make other comics laugh, I guess, or to make just free form absurd.
Right.
And it's a good way to play. It's improv if you take out the filth. And there's a million ways to do brilliant stuff, and people do. Right. I mean, you watch a lot of the television that's on now that we like. You watch one of the good improv-ish type shows on Comedy Central, or you watch something where you watch a Will Ferrell movie where things are just cooking and they're making it up as you're watching it, and that's that. Right. But this was a different animal. So
yours was the most infamous one. Everyone recalls like, oh man, Bob Saget and his Aristocrats bit. We can't even.
Well, when I opened up Newsweek, and I realized there was never an homage to Full House's character,
right?
But to this, and it was the flip.
Well, how do you feel about that?
I feel good. I mean,
Yeah.
I do many different things. I've been on Broadway a bunch of times, and not the street. I've actually been in plays,
Both, probably.
and the street.
Yeah.
And
It's hard to avoid.
I love acting. I love directing. I love doing different stuff. But you get pegged as something, and I played Danny Tanner, and damn it, I'm going to play him probably for the rest of my life because it's not going anywhere. So that shows we're going to go do more of Fuller Houses.
I know that house will remain full for eternity.